Join Gilda's Run Walk on Sunday, October 5th in Middleton. Run a self-timed 5K or walk 2 miles to support Wisconsin families facing cancer. Your team and fundraising help Gilda's Club ensure that no one faces cancer alone. After the finish, enjoy Ruth's Crisp Burgers, chocolate shop ice cream, and fun for all ages. Register by August 31st for early bird pricing, just $35 for adults, $25 for kids, plus get the official event t-shirt. Sign up now at gildasrunwalk.com. Let's make every step count. You're invited to Bike the Barns, a one-of-a-kind food and farming adventure taking place on Sunday, September 21st in the Madison area. Hosted by Fair Share CSA Coalition, this fundraising bike ride supports local farmers and fresh food access. With fresh farm foods and drinks, live tunes, and farm tours at each stop, plus all skill levels are welcome because it's a ride, not a race. Spots fill up quickly, so register today at csacoalition.org and pedal together for fresh food for everyone. This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Today, it's time for the Friday News Roundup. We're in the deep dog days of summer, lapping up the last weeks of August here. Oh my gosh. Joining me today is our executive producer, Haley Sperling. Hey, Haley.
Hi, Bianca. So happy it's summer, but I'm also very excited for fall.
Yeah, it's getting started. I feel like we'll see, but a little bit. And we're here with our producer, Jade Isiri Ramos. Hey, Jade.
Hi, Bianca. Happy to be here.
Yes, Jade, you are kicking us off this week. We're looking to the skies, or we don't have to look because we can hear them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm kicking us off this week with a sound that we're all very familiar with now, F-35s flying over our heads. Well, the Dane County Regional Airport is officially putting its noise mitigation plan on hold. That's according to reporting by Nicole Pollock at the Wisconsin State Journal. The airport was looking to change flight patterns and modify runways to reduce noise for residents who are most impacted by the sound. This is after a noise compatibility program found that by 2027, an estimated 2,200 residents will be exposed to an average daily aircraft noise at or above a level that is incompatible with residential living. However, last week, Dane County Regional Airport Director Mark Papko announced that they would be putting that plan on hold, citing a lack of funding support from the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA. Now, one thing that struck me while I was doing this story is how loud things must be for those 2,000 plus residents that are living in the most impacted housing. I know that you guys hear the F-35s because I hear you hear them. In fact, I imagine that during this recording at some point, we're going to take a pause so that a fighter jet can fly overhead. So can you guys imagine how loud things must be for these folks?
It's very frustrating. I can imagine it's pretty intense.
It's truly just deafening from where I sit in the Sassy neighborhood, and I can't even imagine for folks who are even closer. It's so loud and so frustrating. I was literally sitting at my desk the other day, and an F-35 came flying over my apartment, and I don't know about you, but like these things are getting close. Like they get really close, and I'm like, I guess that's what $1 billion looks like.
Yeah, that's what $1 billion sounds like.
Right.
I really dug into this because I was like trying to understand how loud is too loud, I guess. And so I want to break this down a little bit. The sound compatibility program that I'm talking about, which was completed in 2024, like I said, it found that by 2027, more than 2,000 people will be exposed to an average daily aircraft noise that the FAA says is too loud. So that's an average of at least 65 decibels over the course of 24 hours. Do either of you have any concept of how loud 65 decibels is?
You know, I feel like I should know how loud that is, and it sounds like a lot. I'm just thinking about listening to the planes, and it's very loud, but like, how loud is it?
Yeah, right. I was like, I work in sound all day, but I'm working in sound that is like very controlled. You know, we work in sound that's very controlled. And so I was also struggling to find this out. And so when I looked into it and I Googled it, what I found is 65 decibels is about the sound of an average conversation. So if you're sitting with someone, you're about 3 feet apart and you're having a conversation, that's 65 decibels, which means that something that would interrupt that conversation would also be 65 decibels, right? So if you're having a conversation with someone and a plane flies overhead, that, if that's at 65 decibels, that's going to interrupt your conversation. But this isn't like how loud you're hearing the plane. This is the average that you're experiencing, right? So on average, all day long, you spread all those loud sounds out, or the quieter but still loud sounds. You're experiencing that level, someone interrupting your conversation all day long.
That's a really interesting way of putting it because, yeah, you do have to stop talking when they're flying overhead. Otherwise, you're just screaming at each other, and putting it in the context of this is what you're experiencing for hours on end. Whew, that's a lot.
I mean, you can't talk. Like, it is immediately when it flies over, you're like, are you going to stop? Like, because sometimes it's multiple planes too. And it's just, there's no conversation that can be heard. So that is wild. When he says the average, it's just like, would be that's the equivalent, is very disruptive.
Yeah. And it's 24/7. They do the FAA does like a little wait for if it's during the night, but that's, average. That includes your night as well, which is, I don't know, pretty intense. So this all comes after, right? All this information, the Dane County Regional Airport stepping back from this plan. This all comes after the U.S. Department of Defense rejected a proposal from the Wisconsin Department of Military Affairs to provide sound insulation for 160 homes that are near the airport. And so, we're sort of told no by the Department of Defense, and now we're told no by our own airport. And Director Papko, I should note, just took over this job, right? He's about a month into the position. And he says that the airport will revalidate the map that informed the previous plan to make a realistic recommendation that align with the priorities of the airport's partners as well as the airport's own master plan. The Wisconsin State Journal reports that the aim here is to create a plan that gets funded at the federal level, but we don't have a timeline for that.
I won't be holding my breath.
And I mean, it's like, it sucks, right? It sucks to be like, okay, there's the other people who are greatly impacted and you hope that they would get some support, but also it makes sense, right? If you think that the plan that's in front of you is not going to get funded, you can't do anything without funding.
The rent is too damn high and the noise levels are too damn high.
Can't catch a break.
Yeah, those are the plagues facing Madison.
Well, we are going to get into more news for this week, but before we do that, let's take a quick break. Hey, animal lovers! Your favorite team needs you to cheer them on at Bark and Wine Tailgate on Saturday, September 27th at Dane County Humane Society. From 3 to 6 p.m., join in the tailgate spirit with delicious food, refreshing drinks, tail-wagging games, a silent auction, and plenty of furry fun for a great cause. Plus, you'll get to meet some amazing animal greeters who will make the day unforgettable. Want more? Grab VIP pregame tickets to enjoy early access and other special perks. Can't wait for the event? The Donate to Vote Showdown is on. Every dollar you donate to cheer for your favorite animal team, cat, dog, wildlife, or critter, counts as one vote to crown this year's champion. Plus, your donation supports animals in our community. Last year, Team Cat clawed their way to the top, but who will win this tailgate rematch? That's up to you. Get your tickets today and start casting your votes now at giveshelter.org/BW. Remember that amazing little cafe you discovered last summer with the perfect latte and crazy view? Or that sweet hiking spot your friend told you about, but you can't remember the name? With Overlook Maps, special places never get lost again. Create personal lists of places you've been and want to go. Build your must-visit list for your next vacation, your foodie favorites for date nights, or your weekend getaways when you need to escape. Share your favorite hidden gems with friends and family. Let them discover that incredible barbecue joint you found or that scenic overlook that takes your breath away. Or keep your secret spots completely private. Planning a trip with friends? Create a shared list where everyone can add their ideas. Visiting a new city? Check out lists from locals who know the real gems, not just the tourist traps. And here's the best part. No ads cluttering your lists. No one selling your data to advertisers. Just your personal collection of amazing places organized exactly how you want them. Overlook Maps, collect, organize, and share the places that matter to you. Download free at overlookmaps.com and check out overlookmaps.com/Madison to see some of our lists and great spots on a map and in your pocket. Your places, your way. All right, y'all, we're back and, we're talking about deafening skies and noise pollution. Sorry to say that I'm also bringing a not so fun story, a pretty tough story, actually, today. So 5 former UW women's basketball players are suing UW's former coach, Marissa Mosley, former sports administrator at UW, Justin Doherty, and the UW Board of Regents. It's a federal case that's getting national attention. I saw it written up in the New York Times, and in a 51-page complaint, the players are alleging psychological abuse from the coach and neglect from the University Board of Regents and their failure to, quote, protect plaintiffs from a known and compelling danger. Another quote is that this coach caused, quote, severe emotional distress. I'm sure you guys saw this headline, right?
Yeah, I think I've been waiting for this headline. We saw one of the players post on Instagram earlier this year about sort of very vaguely her experience, and I was waiting for other folks to come out.
Yeah, exactly the same thought. Like, we were just waiting for this other shoe to drop and for things to become public, because and her name's Tessa, she's one of the plaintiffs in the case. When she dropped that video, I was like, we're not just going to let this sit here, right? Like, there has to be follow up here. And now here it is.
Right. Imagine she had some sense that it's not just me. And you've seen that in other abuse allegations in our city, where one person comes forward, next person. But yeah, there is a lot in this complaint, 51 pages. I'll kind of share high level. The allegations are that the coach did a number of harms, including bullying. Also, that the coach interfered with her players' mental health treatments, conducted lengthy one-on-ones that pried into players' lives off the court, including personal and romantic lives, and threatened scholarships and playing time. That's really high level. There's more detail if you look into the complaint. But yeah, during Mosley's tenure, she was leading the team for 4 seasons and resigned this March. And during that time, 11 players transferred with eligibility, including the 5 that are filing the suit. So that's a lot of players to leave early. And that's something that's in the lawsuit. A lot of this is around mental health and the mental health of the players. The lawsuit, another thing that it said was, quote, medical providers treated a disproportionate number of Mosley's players for mental health issues. And that, quote, several players required emergency medical treatment or treatment at a mental health facility. So, yeah, when players are alleging emotional distress and there's a disproportionate number of players who are being treated for mental health, there's a lot in there. And if it's true, it's very sad. And this complaint basically lays out at the top, the pattern of psychological abuse in college sports. We've heard this story in different places, right? And it also includes at UW-Madison itself. So it's certainly a pervasive problem. And the students are basically saying they should have been preemptively protected, that this is a clear threat, what was being done, and also what was being done after they brought the issues forward. I don't know about if you guys have thoughts about this case. It obviously can stir up a lot, but yeah, their players are speaking out.
It's a really tough one, right? Because coaches are people, adults that students and, colleagues should be able to look up to, that they should be able to go to for guidance. And in everything that has been alleged, and I will say alleged in this court complaint, it just seems like that trust was really violated and manipulated and misused. And that's just very disheartening to see. And I mean, I think it has to take a lot of strength and power and courage from these players to come forward with this. And I'm very curious to see if this will set any sort of precedent in college sports, in college athletics, which is only going to become more important now as these college athletes are treated more and more like professionals.
Yeah, I'm also, we have talked about it on the show, and I think we're, as a team, thinking of ways to do a show about this, but we're also like in a time where young people are having mental health crises at what appears to be an increased level. And I think, like you said, Bianca, it's sad that someone who is supposed to like be an advocate for these young people was allegedly making those issues worse and worse.
Yeah, there are a number of details in the complaint saying that athletes would regularly end practice crying, would leave one-on-ones crying, and that sort of intensity, at least the 5 people who are making this lawsuit are saying that's why they left. So we were losing athletes as well. So it's a very sad thing. And, as we continue to talk about mental health more, I think it's more and more important that everyone's on the same page about being supportive of our mental health as we, like the increasing challenges around the globe. Like there's just so much pressure on the younger generation right now. So it's a heavy one. And, back to the case, the players are seeking an undetermined punitive and compensatory damages, and they're demanding a jury trial. So, I'm not saying that this is why they're doing that, but that it's kind of a pattern when people pick that they want it to be heard and seen, and they want the damages to be laid out and like in the record. So they don't want this to be happening behind the scenes. It's a national story at this point, and we're going to be following it as it continues. But we are going to keep on with this Friday News Roundup. We've got more stories to get into. Before we dive into more news, let's take a quick break. All right. You say goodbye, say hello, the Beatles. Haley, you got the next story.
Yeah, I've got some good news and bad news this week for Madison's restaurant scene. And since we're kind of already in that mood, let's start with the bad news. After nearly 13 years on Willie Street, A Pig in a Fur Coat is closing their doors. September 26th will be their last day of service. Have either of you two been to A Pig in a Fur Coat?
No, and I'm so sad that I missed it. Like, we just did our Gone But Not Forgotten restaurant show, and this one I can't believe this one's making the list now that I didn't get to go to.
I have not been. It's one of those places that, when you walk on Willie, I've walked in front of it so many times and like peered in. The way that they have this, it's very storybook, their front window, where I'm like, wow, it looks really pretty and nice in there. But I'm not a huge meat eater, really. So like, I think if I was, like, I would have maybe already gotten in. But I always thought like, that looks like a nice restaurant and it's always full. So I don't know, this was kind of surprising to me too.
It's also like, it's pretty fancy. Like, it's been on my list of like, this is like a promotion dinner spot. This is an anniversary spot. And I feel like those things just haven't quite aligned for me to get in the door. And I did try to make a reservation. There's no reservations to be had.
You're going to have to keep looking in from the window.
Forever. I went once, and I can say it was a really special place. It was a really special experience. The service was great. The restaurant is super small, so the vibes are really, really intimate, and the food was truly outstanding. The food was great. The drinks were great. I would describe it as kind of akin to Mint Mark, like lots of small plates and everything is best shared. And I went there with my friends. We do a monthly fancy feast, which is exactly what it sounds like. We go out and be fancy. So this was obviously one of our contenders, and it was such a great spot. The restaurant is owned by Bonnie Arndt and chef Dan Bonanno, who's a star in his own right. Bonanno was recognized in 2017 as Madison Magazine's Chef of the Year, and he was named a James Beard Foundation Award semifinalist in 2022. Bonanno told Madison Magazine that the timing just felt right to close the door on Pig, and he wants to step away from chefing for a little bit. He told the magazine, quote, "We're going on our own terms and on a positive note." So clearly, it's like nothing's wrong. It just felt like the time was right. So it's really a bittersweet ending. As of right now, Jade, you mentioned there are no reservations available online. The bar is always first come, first serve, so you can shoot your shot that way. But clearly, folks are kind of in their feels on this one. But, with endings come new beginnings. Are you guys ready for a little bit of good news today?
Oh, please.
Yes, please. Yes, chef. Yes, chef. Serve it, Haley.
So what folks might not know is that Bonanno and the folks at Pig are also the minds behind Alimentari, the Italian deli and sandwich shop.
Okay, I've been there.
Yeah, same.
I know you guys have both been there, and we love their sandwiches. They are so good. Oh, okay. Anyways, so Alimentari, they used to have an East Side location right next to my beloved Burrito Drive over on Brearley Street, but that spot closed last December because the landlord sold the building to be torn down and turned into housing. Tale as old as time. We love housing. Sad for me and other East Siders who love to get their lunch on at Alimentari, but they did go on to open a new location over on Monroe Street earlier this year, and they always teased that they had plans to come back to the East Side. And now those plans are becoming closer to a reality because Bonanno said he plans to turn the Pig building into a second Alimentari. So cue the applause. Yay. Woo! How do you guys feel about like a full circle moment? Personally, I love it.
Well, first off, I'm like dying and loving you calling it Pig, like shorthand, like Pig, like the pig. It's like so cute. I feel great. I mean, it is one of those things that a breeze will pass and I'll think, when is that happening?
Right.
So to hear like that was the plan. Okay, got it. Cool.
Yeah, we sometimes show our East Side colors, but the fact of being able to like realistically get Alimentari on my lunch break is really exciting to me.
You guys know I'm very excited to have Alimentari back on the East Side. I dream of their spicy sopressata and their pastrami sandwiches regularly. So this is great news for all of us. Bonanno said specifically that he did not want to put another restaurant in the Pig building. So like this makes sense for them. And we're excited to see what comes next. And hopefully there'll be more details on when that'll be opening coming up soon. I'm assuming there'll probably be a little bit of a break between Pig closing and Alimentari opening because there's going to have to be some renovation and reconstruction there anyways.
And it's here tomorrow.
Yeah, right? I dream every night. I do have one more piece of good restaurant news for you guys, if we're ready for that. Madison Magazine has named their 2025 Chef of the Year, and it is none other than Mr. Evan Donnells. Yay!
Love him.
He is the owner of Cadre Restaurant, The French Spot, and Lola's High-Low Lounge, which we talk about endlessly on this show. So truly needs no introduction. I know we were talking about this before, and we're all just kind of like surprised that he hasn't won already. So congrats to him and those teams. It's a super big honor, and we'll have to get him on the show soon.
Agreed. Have him back. Yeah, he's one of the co-owners of Lola's High-Low Lounge and like the culinary genius. I was actually there last night and their cheese curds might be the best in the city.
Ooh.
Something that we need to explore. I think we're going to have to do something where it's like taste all the different cheese curds, but they're so gooey and delicious. But Cadre also is just like such a contender. But the best part is Evan is a really wonderful person. He is a good-hearted man and we love him. He deserves it. It's nice when you got, chefs that can cook and they can cook on a beautiful human level. So yeah, it's really exciting and we'd love to have him back on. Well, I am going to turn to our member shout outs because we're shouting out Evan. Now we're going to go to our neighbors who have written us. We got a shout out from Leah K, shouting out El Rancho Mexican Grill. This is her saying, quote, "My coworkers and I go to the one on Cottage Grove Road frequently, and staff are so friendly and professional. The food is fantastic, fresh, and very fast. I highly recommend for an easy lunch." Leah, this place is awesome. I've been to the one over on Park Street a couple times, and it's like gorgeous. It's a gorgeous building. I know, Jade, you also have thoughts on El Rancho.
Leah, you This shout out changed my life. I had not realized that the one on Cottage Grove Road, the one on Park Street, and then the new one, the breakfast spot on East Johnson, are all owned by the same people, and they are all fantastic. I've eaten at all of them. But now that I know they're connected because you made the shout out.
Yeah, like they're growing and they're thriving, and it's a beautiful family. So we love that. Do you out there want to get a shout out in for your favorite spots? Well, that is one of the many perks that our CityCast Madison neighbors get, y'all. When you sign up, you get access to the ad-free podcast feed. You don't have to listen to my wonderful voice saying ads anymore. No, it is a perk. I get it. And then the weekly events newsletter that our neighbors get, and invites to special meetup events. And most importantly, you make the work that we do here sustainable and possible. So if you want to be a neighbor, we definitely would love that.
Yeah, there are so many perks to being a neighbor, and it's all for just $10 a month or $100 a year if you pay all at once. We love all of our neighbors who have already joined. There are more than 600 of you out there. And if you've been thinking about joining us, do it. Just do it today. Why not? You know, we got room. There's more space. We got room for everyone here.
For sure. So go to membership.citycast.fm to become a neighbor today. And before we leave this Friday News Roundup, do want to shout out that I had a homecoming on Wednesday. I went to my and Jade's radio alma mater, WORT, on their noon hour talk show, A Public Affair, which we both were producers. Like, that was my first job in radio. Jade.
Mine too. I love A Public Affair, and I love Ali. So I'm excited. I was really excited that you were on the show.
Yes. So the Wednesday host, Ali Muldrow, invited me on to talk about what I do as an interviewer on CityCast Madison and what makes a good conversation and, you know, stepping into being a front-facing role and finding my voice. And we started the conversation out about how important my teammates are and everyone's on that conversation's team and like what goes into creating a great episode and great content. So it was really lovely. And funny enough, Ali said in there, she's like, you guys have been voted best of Madison the past few years. You know, have you already done everything that you need to accomplish? Like everyone, you know, loves you. You've done, I'm like, we've only scratched the surface. So when we're talking about neighbors and joining us, like we're just beginning. We want such a big community around CityCast Madison. And yeah, so if you want to listen to that conversation, it was truly a delight. And Haley, did you get a chance?
Oh, yeah, I listened to it. It was so fun. It's always fun to turn the tables on Bianca, I feel like. Because, you know, we see you as Bianca the host so many times, but we don't really get to see you as Bianca the guest. And so Ali herself is a great interviewer, and the two of you have such a rapport. And Miss Myra Renee was also there as well. And she is just such an amazing human. I would love to know her more. She's been on the podcast. Check out that conversation. We can throw it in the show notes. But I love it. I also love when local journalism worlds collide, right? Shout out to WORT.
Yeah, it felt a lot like worlds colliding and like expanding. So all of the beauty there. We'll link that conversation in our show notes. And it's also in today's Madison Minutes newsletter. So go check that out if you want. And we're going to wrap up this week of news. Y'all, thanks for rounding up the news with me this week. Haley Sperling, you're the best.
No, you're the best.
And Jade Isiri Ramos, you are also the best.
You're the bestest.
That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, your host. We're produced by Jade Isiri Ramos, Adrian Gonzalez, and Lizzie Goldsmith. Haley Sperling is our executive producer. Our theme music is by Carl Christensen. Additional music this week by Drew Shepard, DM, Anders Fab, Air Reeses, and Peter Plaxa from Triple Scoop Music via Getty Images. Rob Thomas is our newsletter editor. Don't forget, you can always get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to Madison Minutes. And don't forget, you can also support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Madison neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. And if you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with someone who likes quiet and silences in their neighborhood? All right. See you back here Monday morning with more stories from around the city. Until then, have a great weekend.